I used to think I wanted like nice cars, nice homes. And ironically, I don't like those things. I used to hate going on trips. And now it's my favorite thing to do for the memory. So what it was really weird was when I understood who I was, I actually started to rediscover, or I guess discover, like what I really liked. And it motivated me so much more for those things.
I'm reading about you, man. And I mean, you literally went from homelessness to creating a multi-million dollar business, roofing business, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me, like, give me a little bit of the early backstory of what happened to you, man, and how'd that happen, anyways?
Yeah, so I originally grew up right outside of Austin, and just was born into a my mom was pregnant at 16, had me at 17, and she was just young, and I don't know who my real dad is, so no idea. Like there was literally like 3 or 4 names on my birth certificate, and none of them were my dad. Just that type of situation. And so, hey man, it is what it is. My mom married my stepdad. It just they were young. It was toxic. It was drinking, drugs, abuse, the whole nine. And just there wasn't anything there, and it kind of isolated us from my mother's side of the family. Like my mom's side of the family was like a good family, right? Like good grandparents and stuff like that. But then my mom and stepdad were so bad that it isolated us, right? And man, just grew up in this. We grew up in the trailer park. We grew up in this rundown trailer. A lot of times we didn't have electricity, running water, food, just any of that stuff. And you witnessed a lot of abuse. You witnessed, mom going after stepdad beating your mom, and sleeping in the car because you're going away. Just evictions, and it was just. But at the time, man, you just think it's life. So looking back, it's like, man, how did I go through that? But at the time, it was just part of what you knew. And I had enough, man. When I was 14, I was like, man, I don't want to be in this life anymore. It's just, I think it created a lot of anxiety because of just what you see and what you go through. And finally, one day I was like, man, I don't want this life anymore. And there was a fight. I decided not to be there, and I just left, and I didn't come home, and I just stayed away. And so, for a while, you can kind of sell your way to staying at someone's house for a couple of days here, a couple of days there, right? Especially in a smaller town, if you will. But eventually, kind of luck runs out, man. And I remember it was probably a couple months in, I was bouncing around, and then finally, I was just, I was sleeping on a park bench, man. It was really kind of rock bottom at 14, and so I got very resourceful though. Like we had an old gym. We had an open campus in high school, and so we had this old gym. It was like the freshman B team locker room. So I would like store clothes in there and stuff, and go in there in the mornings and like work out and shower so it didn't look obvious, or play basketball because there's always like games going on. And I would keep clothes there because it was like, man, if I get there early enough, no one's going to see. I can shower and be able to take it if I wasn't staying at someone's house. And so, man, that was the early stuff. It was just it was a rough upbringing, right? But I mean, there's really nothing you can do about it at that age. But it does set you up for a lot of failures because you get accustomed to that type of life, and you think that life's acceptable. So that was probably the worst part of it. Is I noticed as I got older, a lot of the actions that I was used to, I did, like the acting out, lashing out. And I felt like it was accustomed to that because it was accepted where I was from, and it wasn't accepted, I feel like, in the real world, or it shouldn't be. And so it caused a lot of just, it took a lot of time to kind of, I think I was confused for a long time. I think I was trying to get over the trauma of it, but I wasn't getting over the trauma of what happened to me. I was getting over the daily disciplines and the habits that were created. That was probably actually the biggest challenge, was trying to overcome all those things that I thought were the way you're supposed to act. That was the hardest part.
And so when did it, I mean, that's just crazy, man. I mean, 14 years old, sleeping on a park bench, man. I mean, that's like, I have a 21-year-old and 18-year-old, and I couldn't imagine, I mean, it just them being in that situation. I mean, that's our duty, our job, man. That's our only job as parents, is to protect our kids. You know what I mean? And it's just wild that anything like that could ever happen, because I'm thinking in my brain, I would work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't care what I'd have to do. I'd pick up trash. Just nothing that I wouldn't do to make sure that my kids were provided for, and so to go through what you went through and then come out on the other side like hugely successful is badass, man. I mean, that is a testament to total absolute courage and determination and passion. And so so you get kind of through those teenage years, and then what happens?
A bunch of more crap, more self-inflicted, right? Like, yeah, it was, and it is, man. And I think, like, in fairness to my mom and stepdad, I hate to say a lot of it was drugs and alcohol. And I think that what people don't realize is, the substance changes who you are, and it can really change you over the course of time. And I feel like it's one of the reasons, like, I don't drink anymore. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a few years. I don't drink anymore, and I don't like putting stuff like that in my body of any kind of substance, because mind altering, because I can see the habits it creates. And when you don't deal with your feelings, it creates bigger issues. The demons get bigger. And so when you use alcohol to run from these demons, they become bigger, and they become bigger until the point where you actually can't beat them anymore, because and you never really understand your feelings. And so I stopped, and I think that was the biggest problem. It's like, yeah, you said it, man. Like what you said so perfectly. Like, we would do anything for our kids. Like there's nothing, and I think that's what separates successful businessmen from not. Is if you show me a successful businessman and he's a great father, I know he's going to be successful in the business world, because I feel like it's that same type of attitude. Like, we'll do whatever it takes. And but I feel like when your mind's altered, you don't realize that it's not what's on your thoughts. So in fairness to them, I don't blame them anymore for what happened to me. But as I got older, I got through high school. It took me 5 years to graduate high school. I actually got my first job in the fitness industry. I was selling gym memberships. I just wanted a free gym membership, and I started doing that. And I think that really gave me kind of a purpose. I felt a part of something. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere, and the competitiveness and the sales aspect just really like sparked something in me. And I started to really find my competitive drive in that. And really, I would say, discovering myself. But I had a lot of failures in there, man, because I didn't know how to act. I never really had a male, role model. I became hyper successful in the sales industry, but I was still going out like drinking and partying and not doing the things I should have been doing. And it caused me to lose a lot of jobs along kind of my 15-year career, burn a lot of relationships. And, I was kind of a guy out there, just a gunslinger. And, I had a lot of fun doing it, and I had a lot of success along the way, but I really just, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I made a lot of excuses for my action. I thought that I should be treated a certain way because of what I went through, or it wasn't my fault. And it was a lot of that, right? It was always, I was a victim. I just glorified or summarize it. I was a victim. I was a professional victim. I thought that I was entitled to things, and it held me back my entire life. That was really the epitome of my, I had the success, but the failures was that. And it wasn't 24/7. I knew I wanted certain things, but I think what probably ultimately held me back through all that was I always focused on items. I didn't focus on who I was supposed to become. And I really believe that the key to life, to get anything you want or to have success, is you first have to figure out who you are and then who you want to become. And if you figure that out, then you understand what you really want. Like for me, man, I've just recently, over the last probably 5-6 years, and I'm 41, is I've understood who I was, and it's evolving. But I used to think I wanted like nice cars, nice homes. And ironically, I don't like those things. I used to hate going on trips, and now it's my favorite thing to do for the memory. So what it was really weird was when I understood who I was, I actually started to rediscover, or I guess discover, like what I really liked. And it motivated me so much more for those things. And so when I started to figure out, like, okay, I want to be a $1 billion brand. What does a $1 billion CEO look like? Okay, well, here's a list of probably the top 10, 15. Okay, what do they typically do? Okay, I want to be like that. What are those common traits they have? What type of people are they? Like, what stuff are they doing? Are they good fathers? And I started modeling myself really like, okay, what kind of person do you want to become? And then that allows me to know what I want. And what's so funny now is I stopped focusing on money. I stopped focusing on items. And it seems like those come in abundance now because I'm focused on other things, whether it be people, getting better, my friends and family, taking people with me along the journey, giving back, impacting people. And what I found was those things actually truly make me happy too. So I'm literally happy that I've ever been going through all this. That's kind of the journey to kind of get to this point, if you will, or up to this point.
If you like this video and you want to watch another one, click right here.